You're here right now in this moment, and that's no accident. There are no accidents in this universe. Everything that comes into your life comes for a reason, and this message has found you because you're ready for it. You're ready to hear something that's going to shift everything about the way you see yourself and your place in this world. This isn't about me teaching you something new. This is about you remembering what you've always known but somewhere along the way forgot. You see, most people go through life asleep. They're walking around thinking they're awake, but they're actually in a trance. They're hypnotized by their past, by what other people told them they could or couldn't be, by the beliefs they picked up when they were 5 years old that have nothing to do with who they really are. And they keep living from those beliefs year after year, wondering why nothing changes, wondering why they feel stuck, wondering why happiness seems to be something that happens to other people but never quite lands in their own backyard. But you're different. The fact that you're hearing these words right now means something in you is stirring. Something in you knows that there's more. You've felt it, haven't you? That quiet voice inside that whispers to you in the middle of the night, or when you're driving alone, or when you catch yourself staring out the window. That voice that says there's got to be more than this. And you know what? That voice is right. That voice is the truest thing about you. The world wants you to believe that you're limited. The world wants you to believe that you're just a body, just a collection of atoms that showed up here by random chance and will disappear one day, leaving nothing behind. The world wants you to believe that you're not good enough, not smart enough, not talented enough, not connected enough. The world wants you to spend your whole life chasing after things outside of yourself, thinking that happiness is hiding in your next achievement, your next relationship, your next purchase, your next destination. But here's what I want you to understand with every fiber of your being. You are not what the world told you that you are. You are not your job title. You are not your bank account. You are not your past mistakes. You are not even your body. You are something so much greater than all of that. You are an infinite spiritual being having a temporary human experience. You came from a source of pure love, pure creativity, pure abundance, and that source is still inside you right now, at this very moment, waiting for you to remember it. Think about it for a second. Before you were born, you didn't exist in physical form, right? But the energy that you are, the consciousness that you are, that existed. Energy can't be created or destroyed. It can only change form. That means the real you, the essential you, has always existed and will always exist. You're eternal. You just forgot that for a little while when you got here and everyone started telling you who you were supposed to be. When you were a baby, you didn't have any limiting beliefs. You didn't think about whether you were worthy or not. You didn't worry about what other people thought of you. You didn't have any concept of failure. You just were. You were pure being, pure presence, pure potential. And then what happened? You started learning. You started absorbing the beliefs of the people around you. You started hearing no more than you heard yes. You started getting messages about what was possible and what wasn't possible. You started building this identity based on external feedback rather than internal knowing. And here you are now, years later, carrying around all of these beliefs that aren't even yours. You're living someone else's life, following someone else's script, trying to meet someone else's expectations, and you wonder why you feel disconnected. You wonder why you feel like something's missing. What's missing is you, the real you, the you that existed before all the programming, before all the conditioning, before all the fear. So this message that found you today is a wake-up call. It's time to come home to yourself. It's time to remember who you really are. And once you remember, everything changes. You don't have to keep living the same patterns over and over. You don't have to keep attracting the same problems. You don't have to keep feeling stuck. You have the power right now in this moment to choose differently. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking, that sounds nice, but you don't know my circumstances. You don't know what I've been through. You don't know how hard my life has been. And you're right, I don't know your specific circumstances. But here's what I do know. Every single person who has ever done something remarkable, every single person who has ever overcome something impossible, every single person who has ever lived a life of purpose and meaning started exactly where you are right now. They had their own circumstances, their own challenges, their own reasons why it couldn't be done, but they decided to stop letting their circumstances define them and started letting their vision lead them. Your circumstances are not your identity. Your past is not your future. The only power your past has over you is the power you give it by continuing to think about it, talk about it, and use it as an excuse for why you can't move forward. Every single moment is a new moment. Every single breath is a new beginning. You can decide right now that everything before this moment was just preparation, just training, just information gathering, and from this point forward you're going to live from a completely different place. That different place is inside you. It's always been inside you. It's your connection to Source, to Spirit, to the divine intelligence that creates worlds. Some people call it God, some people call it the universe, some people call it consciousness. The name doesn't matter. What matters is that you recognize that there's an infinite organizing intelligence that exists, and you're not separate from it. You're an extension of it. You're made of the same stuff that creates stars and grows trees and heals wounds and orchestrates the entire cosmos. Think about your body for a moment. Your heart is beating right now without you thinking about it. Your cells are regenerating, your lungs are breathing, your food is being digested, your wounds are healing. All of this is happening automatically, intelligently, perfectly, without any conscious effort from you. That same intelligence that's running your body, that same intelligence is available to run your life if you let it. But most people don't let it. Most people think they have to figure everything out with their limited little ego mind. Your ego mind is the part of you that thinks you're separate. It's the part that thinks you're alone, that you have to do everything by yourself, that you have to control everything, that you have to worry about everything. Your ego mind is in a constant state of fear because it believes in limitation. It believes in scarcity. It believes that there's not enough, that you're not enough, that you have to fight and struggle and compete for everything you get. But that's not the truth. The truth is that you live in a universe of abundance. There's no scarcity in nature. Nature doesn't struggle. Flowers don't compete with each other to bloom. Trees don't worry about whether they're growing fast enough. Birds don't have anxiety about whether they'll find food tomorrow. They're all connected to the flow of life, and the flow of life provides for all things. You are nature too. You're not separate from it. You're part of it. And when you align yourself with the laws of nature, when you align yourself with the flow of life, when you align yourself with source energy, everything you need comes to you. Not because you chased it, not because you forced it, not because you manipulated it, but because you became a vibrational match for it. Everything in this universe is energy vibrating at different frequencies. Your thoughts are energy, your emotions are energy, your beliefs are energy, and the frequency you're vibrating at determines what you attract into your life. If you're vibrating at the frequency of fear, lack, and limitation, you're going to attract experiences that match that frequency. If you're vibrating at the frequency of love, abundance, and possibility, you're going to attract experiences that match that frequency. So the question isn't, how do I get what I want? The question is, who do I need to become to be a vibrational match for what I want? And the answer is always the same. You need to become who you really are. You need to drop all the false identities, all the limiting beliefs, all the fear-based thinking, and return to your natural state, which is love, which is peace, which is joy, which is abundance. This isn't about positive thinking, by the way. Positive thinking is just putting a happy face on a fearful belief. It's still coming from ego. It's still coming from a place that believes you're separate and limited, and you have to work really hard to convince yourself and the universe that you deserve good things. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a fundamental shift in identity. I'm talking about knowing, not just believing, but knowing at the core of your being that you are an infinite spiritual being with unlimited creative power. When you know that, you don't have to try to be positive. You don't have to affirm yourself into believing something. You don't have to visualize to try to make something happen. All of those tools can be helpful, but they're not the foundation. The foundation is knowing who you are. And when you know who you are, your natural state is one of confidence, peace, love, and enthusiasm for life. Now, let me talk about why this message must find you now and never again. This is important. You're at a crossroads in your life. Maybe you don't realize it yet, but you are. Something has brought you to this moment. Maybe it's a crisis. Maybe it's a loss. Maybe it's just a quiet desperation that's been building for years. Maybe it's a dream that won't leave you alone. Whatever it is, this is your moment. This is your time. This is when you decide. You can keep living the way you've been living. You can keep thinking the way you've been thinking. You can keep blaming your circumstances, your parents, your partner, your boss, the economy, the government, bad luck, or whatever else you've been using as an excuse for why your life isn't working the way you want it to work. And if you choose that path, that's okay. You have free will. You get to choose. But understand that if you choose that path, nothing changes. 5 years from now, you'll be having the same conversations, the same problems, the same frustrations, the same regrets. Or you can choose differently. You can choose to wake up. You can choose to take full responsibility for your life. You can choose to stop being a victim and start being a creator. You can choose to stop reacting to your life and start creating your life. You can choose to remember who you really are and start living from that place. And if you make that choice, everything changes. Not overnight necessarily. Sometimes it does happen overnight, but usually it's a process. But the process starts the moment you decide. The moment you say, I am done living small, I am done playing it safe, I am done letting fear run my life. I am done waiting for permission. I am done making excuses. I am ready to step into who I really am and live the life I came here to live. That decision changes everything, because that decision shifts your energy. And when your energy shifts, your reality shifts. It has to. It's law. Energy is always organizing itself according to the frequency you're emitting. When you change your frequency, you change your life. So this is why this message must find you now and never again. Because once you hear this, once you really hear it, you can't unhear it. You can't go back to sleep. You can't pretend you don't know. You know. And knowing means you're now responsible. You're response-able. You're able to respond differently than you've been responding. Some of you are going to hear this and feel excited. You're going to feel like something inside you just woke up. You're going to feel hope maybe for the first time in a long time. You're going to feel possibility. And that's beautiful. That's your true self saying, yes, this is what I've been trying to tell you. Stay with that feeling. Feed that feeling. Act on that feeling. Don't let the old patterns talk you out of it. Don't let the ego convince you that it's too good to be true, or that you're too old, or too young, or too broken, or too whatever. Just stay with the feeling and let it guide you. Some of you are going to hear this and feel resistant. You're going to feel like it's too simple, or too spiritual, or too woo-woo, or too whatever label you want to put on it to dismiss it. And that's okay too. That's just your ego feeling threatened, because it knows that if you really accept what I'm saying, its days of running your life are over. The ego doesn't want to die. It doesn't want to let go of control. It's going to put up a fight. But here's what I want you to know. You are not your ego. You can observe your ego. You can notice when it's speaking. And you can choose not to listen to it. The real you, the observer, the witness, the one who is aware that you're thinking, that's who you really are. That's the part of you that's eternal. That's the part of you that's connected to Source. That's the part of you that knows the truth. And the truth is that you are powerful beyond measure. You are creative beyond your wildest imagination. You are loved beyond your comprehension. And you are here for a reason. Your life has meaning. Your life has purpose. You didn't just randomly show up here. You came here with gifts to give, with love to share, with a unique contribution to make. Nobody else can do what you came here to do. Nobody else has your exact combination of talents, experiences, perspectives, and passions. You are completely unique. And the world needs what only you can give. But you can't give your gifts if you're living in fear. You can't share your love if you're protecting your heart. You can't make your contribution if you're playing small. You have to be willing to show up fully, to be seen, to be vulnerable, to risk failure, to risk criticism, to risk rejection. You have to be willing to live all the way out loud, without apology, without asking for permission, without waiting for someone to tell you that you're ready. You're ready now. You've always been ready. Ready is not a feeling. Ready is a decision. You decide you're ready, and then you act, and then you become ready through the acting. That's how it works. You don't get ready and then act. You act and become ready. You don't get confident and then put yourself out there. You put yourself out there and build confidence through the experience. Everything you want is on the other side of fear. Every dream you have, every goal you have, every desire you have is waiting for you to be willing to move through the fear and take the action. And here's the secret about fear. Fear is just an emotion. It's energy in motion. It's not real. It's not a fact. It's not truth. It's just a feeling in your body that you've learned to interpret as a stop sign. But it's not a stop sign. It's actually a compass. Fear is pointing you in the direction of your growth. Fear is showing you where you need to go next. If you're not scared, you're not growing. If you're comfortable, you're stagnant. So start to reframe your relationship with fear. Instead of seeing it as something to avoid, see it as something to move toward. When you feel fear, get excited, because that means you're about to expand. That means you're about to level up. That means you're about to become more of who you really are. The caterpillar probably feels fear when it goes into the cocoon. It's leaving everything it knows. It's letting go of its entire identity. But it has to do that to become the butterfly. You have to be willing to let go of who you've been to become who you're meant to be. And who you're meant to be is not some future version of yourself that you have to work really hard to become. Who you're meant to be is who you already are, underneath all the layers of conditioning and programming and false beliefs. You don't have to become anything. You just have to remove what's covering up your true nature. It's like a sculpture. The sculptor doesn't create the sculpture. The sculptor just removes the excess stone to reveal what was always there. Your work is to remove the excess, to let go of what's not you, to release the beliefs that don't serve you, to drop the identities that were never yours in the first place. This is a process of subtraction, not addition. You don't need to add anything to yourself. You don't need to become more. You just need to become more yourself. You need to peel away the layers of false identity until you reach the core of who you really are. And at that core, you'll find love. You'll find peace. You'll find joy. You'll find freedom. You'll find everything you've been looking for outside of yourself. Because here's the thing that most people don't understand. Everything you want because you think it's going to make you feel a certain way. You want money because you think it's going to make you feel secure. You want a relationship because you think it's going to make you feel loved. You want success because you think it's going to make you feel worthy. You want health because you think it's going to make you feel good. But what if I told you that you can feel all of those feelings right now without any of those things? What if security, love, worthiness, and joy are not things you get from outside circumstances? What if they're things you already are and you just have to remember it? What if you've been going about this whole thing backwards? What if instead of trying to arrange your external circumstances to make you feel a certain way, you start feeling a certain way and your external circumstances arrange themselves to match that feeling? That's how it actually works. You don't get what you want, you get what you are, you attract what you are. Your external reality is always a mirror of your internal reality. If you want to change your life, you have to change yourself. And by change yourself, I don't mean fix yourself. You're not broken. I mean remember yourself. I mean return to yourself. I mean become yourself. When you're living from your true self, from your essential nature, life becomes effortless. Not easy, necessarily, but effortless. There's a flow to it. There's a grace to it. Opportunities show up. People show up. Resources show up. Things work out in ways you couldn't have planned or predicted. Some people call this luck. Some people call it coincidence. Some people call it synchronicity. I call it alignment. When you're aligned with who you really are, when you're aligned with source energy, when you're aligned with the flow of life, you're in the right place at the right time, meeting the right people, having the right experiences. But when you're out of alignment, when you're living from ego, when you're living from fear, everything feels like a struggle. Everything feels like work. You're pushing, you're forcing, you're trying to control, you're manipulating, you're exhausting yourself, and nothing seems to work out the way you want it to. That's not because life is hard. That's because you're out of alignment. So how do you get into alignment? You stop. You get still. You get quiet. You tune into yourself. You listen to that inner voice, that inner knowing, that inner guidance. And you start making decisions based on what feels right to you rather than what looks right to other people or what makes sense to your logical mind or what's safe or what's expected. You start asking yourself different questions. Instead of asking, what should I do? What's the smart thing to do? What will people think? You start asking, what would love do? What would bring me joy? What feels expansive? What lights me up? And you follow that, even when it doesn't make sense. Even when you can't see the whole path. Even when people think you're crazy, you follow your inner guidance because that's the voice of your true self trying to lead you home. Your true self knows the way. Your true self knows what you need. Your true self knows what you came here to do. But your true self can only guide you when you're willing to listen. And most people aren't willing to listen because listening to your true self often means disappointing other people. It often means going against the grain. It often means being different. It often means standing out. It often means being judged or criticized or misunderstood. But here's what I want you to understand. The people who judge you, who criticize you, who misunderstand you, they're asleep. They're still living from ego. They're still living from fear. They're still living from conditioning. And they're projecting their fears onto you. They're not actually seeing you, they're seeing themselves. They're seeing their own limitations. They're seeing their own unfulfilled dreams. And it makes them uncomfortable when you're willing to step out and be yourself, because it reminds them that they're not. So don't take it personally. Don't let other people's opinions of you become your opinion of you. Don't give away your power by letting other people define you or limit you or tell you what's possible for you. You're the only one who gets to decide who you are and what you're capable of. You're the only one who gets to write your story. You're the only one who gets to live your life. And here's the beautiful thing. When you start living from your true self, when you start living from love instead of fear, when you start living from abundance instead of lack, something magical happens. You start to inspire other people. You give other people permission to do the same. You become a light in the darkness. You become a beacon of hope. You become a living example of what's possible when you choose love over fear, when you choose faith over doubt, when you choose to trust life instead of trying to control it. That's your real purpose here. Your purpose is not to achieve a certain level of success or accumulate a certain amount of wealth or reach a certain status or position. Your purpose is to remember who you are and help other people remember who they are. Your purpose is to love yourself so completely that your love overflows and touches everyone around you. Your purpose is to shine so brightly that you light up the world just by being yourself. And you do that not by being perfect, but by being real. Not by having it all figured out, but by being willing to be honest about your struggles. Not by pretending you're better than anyone else, but by recognizing that we're all the same. We're all spiritual beings having human experiences. We're all trying to find our way. We're all doing the best we can with the level of awareness we have. And we're all worthy of love, compassion, and forgiveness, including and especially ourselves. So this message that found you today is an invitation. It's an invitation to come home to yourself. It's an invitation to remember who you really are. It's an invitation to stop living small and start living fully. It's an invitation to stop waiting and start creating. It's an invitation to stop doubting and start believing. It's an invitation to stop fearing and start loving. And this invitation is only good for right now in this moment, because this moment is all you ever have. The past is gone. The future hasn't happened yet. All you have is now. And now is where all your power is. Now is where all your creative ability lives. Now is where you get to choose